How does that feel?
Well, it's quite an honor to be the first. There's a lot of responsibility that comes with being the first to represent not just our people here in our region, but also to be a representative in the nation of our region.
And do you feel like there's an enormous amount of pressure being the first, especially in law, representing our people, our island?
Of course there is, but I can handle it.
All right. And then so off camera, we were talking about how you come from a family of lawyers, right? And it started off with your grandpa. Can you tell me a little bit about that? And is that what inspired you to even get into a career in law in the first place?
So my family of lawyers starts with my grandfather, the Honorable Francisco Guerrero Lujan. He was a judge here on Guam. And my uncles Frank Lujan and David Lujan followed in his footsteps. My cousin Monessa Lujan is the daughter of Frank Lujan and became a Supreme Court Justice of Guam. And I am, I followed in the footsteps of my grandfather and my uncle. But if you want to know the story about how it is that I became an attorney, when I was 6 years old, we visited my grandfather's home, and I was put into a chair, and this huge book was placed onto my lap, and I immediately fell in love with the book. It was later that I found out it was a law book, and I decided that I wanted to be a lawyer at 6 years old. So it was that experience that sparked my desire to be a lawyer.
And I have to ask, given that you are now, again, the first CHamoru, a woman federal public defender for not just the District of Guam, but also for the Northern Marianas, did you ever, dreamed that it would come to this moment? Even that little 6-year-old girl being like, I'm going to be a lawyer, to going further into this career?
Never. I never dreamed I would be in this position. My dream was to be a lawyer to help people. And so now that I am in a position to help our people on Guam and our people in the Northern Mariana Islands, it is the elevation of that dream.
So I have to ask, how did that work come about? Did you put in your nomination, or did someone just nominate you without I guess as a surprise, or oh yeah, well, I thought you were this perfect candidate, and how did that come about?
So the process of selecting the Guam Federal Public Defender, which turned out to be also the Federal Public Defender for the District of Guam and the Northern Mariana Islands, if I can just back up a little bit. In August of 2023, the Ninth Circuit approved the expansion of our office from the District of Guam to include the District of the Northern Mariana Islands. In terms of the process of applying for the Federal Public Defender position, I had to submit an application to the Ninth Circuit. So the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals selected me among the candidates to head the District of Guam and the District of the Northern Mariana Islands.
I know we mentioned that you never thought about, going this far into you, but what made you decide to turn in that application? You know what, I'm going to go for it. Go for this. What made you decide to do that?
At that point in time when my boss, John Gorman, put in for his retirement, I was already 10 years on the job, and I believed that I had all the skills, all the experience to lead our office into the next iteration.
Was there an aha moment, you know what, this is it, this is a sign, I have to do this?
Yes, of course, there was. As soon as I found out that Mr. Gorman intended to retire, I felt that it was my opportunity to be able to lead our office.
What do you hope will come out of you now being in your position right now? Because I know you said you wanted to be a lawyer to really, truly help people. What are some of the cases that are really passionate with your heart, that you truly put your heart and soul into?
Well, let me, I guess, answer that in two ways. First, in terms of the future of our office, I plan on expanding our services to better assist clients. not just from our traditional role of advocating for clients in the courtroom, but also exploring pilot projects that are aimed at rehabilitation to assist clients at all stages of their cases, whether they are at the pretrial, pre-sentencing, or post-sentencing stages. Expanding into the Northern Marianas certainly is a very prestigious goal to accomplish, and it's my hope that we will be able to open a branch office in the District of the Northern Marianas this year. And then also explore community outreach and try to bring federal resources to our region for more training opportunities for our local attorneys, because as you know, traveling to the mainland is very expensive. The second half of the answer is being the first means I'm not the last. And so I hope that my tenure as a federal public defender will inspire others to not just become lawyers, but to become public servants. I come from, as you said, as you notice, a very long history of attorneys. But I also come from a long history of public servants. My parents worked for the government of Guam. My siblings work for the government of Guam. And I have worked not just for the federal government, but also for the state of Hawaii when I worked in Hawaii. And so public service to me is very important, and in my opinion, there is no nobler profession than public service.
I do have to ask, I know that there are certain topics that if you could, clarify with me that you guys can touch bases with, like the abortion laws here on island to even the, other topics. How ready and how motivated do you feel taking on those types of especially law-abiding issues?
Well, we don't handle those matters, so I won't comment on that.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so I do have to ask, what message do you have for the community, especially for young women, especially those of Chamorro descent, in taking on something like this?
Well, not only am I the first Chamorro in the nation to be appointed as a federal public defender, I am the second in the nation who is openly LGBTQ plus. And so my message to all is never give up on your dream. I had a dream to be a lawyer at 6 years old, and I followed that dream. And if I can do it, a person who is LGBTQ, a woman of color from the south of Guam, if I can do it, anyone can do it.
Now to a personal question to that 6-year-old little Leilani, who fell in love with that law book. If you could talk to her right now, what would you say to her?
I would say to her, stick with it because it's a fantastic journey.
And is there anything else you would like to add?
Viva Marianas.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.